Hello everyone, welcome to Sun Virtual School. This is Mr. Fida and today we're going to be studying past and present in the book English for Starters Grade 9. Today we have this text in unit number 1, The Buried City, episode 1, New Friends. I am going to be reading the text for you and later we're going to be doing some exercises. 1. Tariq couldn't sleep. He listened to the sounds from the street. He smelled the flowers from the garden, and he felt the warm air in his room. Everything was familiar. He was living again in the house where he was born, but it was also very different from his old home in Canada. Then he thought again about the next morning, his first day at his new school. Was he excited or nervous? He didn't know. He was thinking about his new school when he finally fell asleep. 2. The next day, Tariq was studying a book in the school library when somebody spoke to him. Hussein. Hello, I am Hussein. I think we're in the same class. Tariq. Oh, hello. My name is Tariq. Hussein. What are you reading? Tariq. It's a book about Busra. I'm reading lots of books about ancient history at the moment. I love it. Hussein. I quite like it, but I prefer science. Where was your old school? Tariq. I went to a school in Canada. My dad's a university professor and he taught Arabic literature in Montreal. Hussein. How long did you live there? Tariq. For 6 years. Hussein. That was a long time. Have you got any brothers and sisters? Tariq. I've got one sister, that's all. Hussein. Me too. Is she older than you? Tariq. No. Sel was only 11. What about you? Hussein. Nadia's 14. She loves writing. Number 3. Tariq and Hussein soon became good friends. They always had lots to talk about. One day, Hussein told Nadia about Tariq's life in Canada. She wrote articles for her school internet magazine, and she was always looking for news stories. Nadia. That's a really interesting story, Hussein. Hussein. Why don't you write an article about Tariq and his life in Canada? Nadia. That's a great idea. Hussein. I'll see him tomorrow and he can give me more information. Okay, you guys, so that was the text that we read. I hope that you guys had your books with you so you could just follow up with me in the book or on screen. Both ways is acceptable. Now I want you to repeat these words after me because these words occurred in the text that we just read, and now we're just going to highlight them and stress them a little better. I'm going to be reading. I want you to repeat after. These are adjectives that describe a person, describe how a person is feeling, like the first word, excited, excited, nervous, nervous, angry, angry, embarrassed, embarrassed, scared, scared, worried, worried, upset, upset, impressed, impressed. Now we're going to be reading the words again, fast, excited, nervous, angry, embarrassed, scared, worried, upset, impressed, Let's look at these sentences. We're going to be reading from number 1 until number 8. For each sentence, we will match one of these words. You see these adjectives that we describe how a person is feeling at the moment. We will match them to these sentences from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I am going to be reading number 1, and you guys will help me pick one of these words. Are you ready? Let's go. Number 1. Lubna loses her school book. Lubna loses her school book. So, Lubna, how do you think Lubna feels when she loses her school book? Is she excited? Meaning happy, for example. Is she nervous? Is she angry? Is she embarrassed, scared, worried, upset, or impressed? What do you think the answer is? I'll count till 3 and I will show you the answer. Maybe by that I will have given you enough time to think about it, but I'm going to count, to 3. 1, 2, 3. She would feel upset if she lost her school book. Number 2. Omar's little brother breaks his computer game. How do you think Omar will feel when his little brother broke his computer game? 1, 2, 3. Of course, he's feeling angry. Number 3. Fahad hears a noise in the middle of the night. How do you feel when you hear a noise in the middle of the night? 1, 2, 3. He felt scared. Number 4. Hind is just about to do an exam. How do you think Hind is feeling when she's about to do an exam? 1, 2, 3. She would absolutely feel nervous. Anybody would feel nervous if they are about to do an exam. Number 5. Rashid's friend does a very good project. It's a very good project. How do you think Rashid's feel? How do you think, Rashid's feelings are when his friend is doing a very good project? I think he would feel 1, 2, 3, impressed. Of course, Rashid is impressed. Impressed meaning that he's content. He is content. He feels great that his friend is doing a good project, so he is impressed. Number 6. Siham's grandmother is in hospital. If Siham's grandmother is in hospital, her grandmother is in the hospital. How do you think Siham is feeling like? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Siham is worried. She is worried about her grandmother. Number 7. Maryam forgets the answer to an easy question. Imagine you forgetting the answer for a very easy question that everybody else knows. How would you feel like? 1, 2, 3. You would, of course, feel embarrassed that you have forgotten the answer for a very, very easy question. Number 8. Isa wins a prize. Isa wins a prize. How do you think Isa feels like when he wins a prize? 1, 2, 3. Oh, of course he feels excited. Anybody would feel excited when they win something good. Alright, if you remember the story that we read a moment ago, we're going to be reading some questions, and I want you to remember the answers for these questions. What did Tariq listen to? So do you remember when we read about Tariq? We said Tariq listened to something. Let's go back. Let me just try to go back to the text. All right. So as you can see here, Tariq couldn't sleep. He listened to the sounds from the street. So I think this would be the answer. He listened to the sounds from the street. So I think that would be the answer for question number 1. What did Tariq listen to? This is question number 1. What did Tariq listen to? And the answer for that would be he listened to the sounds from the street. Let's go back and do question number 2. Question number 2. What did he smell? What did he smell? What did Tariq smell? We can go back to see. He smelled the flowers. He smelled the flowers. That I guess would be the answer. He smelled the flowers. That would be the answer for question number 2. What did he smell? Let's move on to question number 3. Question number 3 says, what was he thinking about when he fell asleep? Do you remember? Do you remember when we talked about what he felt like, what he was thinking about when he fell asleep? Let's go back to the text. Okay, from the garden, he felt the warm air in his room. Everything was familiar. Let's go, I think, till the end, because here we have when he finally fell asleep. When he finally fell asleep. So maybe we have to jump up to the sentence before that. From, let's start from here, from the subject pronoun, which is, whose first letter is capitalized. He was thinking about his new school. He was thinking about his new school. So I think that would be the answer for question number 3. What was he thinking about when he fell asleep? He was thinking about his new school. Moving on to question number 4. What was Tariq reading when Hussein spoke to him? Do you remember this? Do you remember when we talked about this? We read something about this. Tariq was at the library. He picked up a book. He was reading about something, and then Hussein talked to him and interrupted his reading activity. And I think Tariq was reading a book. I think that would take us to part 2, when it's the next day and Tariq was studying a book in the school library when somebody spoke to him. So Hussein, he was like, I'm Hussein, I think we're in the same class. Then Tariq was like, oh, hello, my name is Tariq. Then Hussein said, what are you reading? I think this is the answer. It's a book about Busra. I am reading a lot of books about ancient history at the moment. So I think this is the answer for question number 4. Tariq was reading a book about Busra because he likes books about ancient history. So I think that would be the answer for question number 4. Moving on to question number 5. Where did Tariq go to school? If you remember, Hussein asked that question about where Tariq went to school, and I think the answer for that would be when Hussein was like, where was your old school? I think that was the good or the best way to find answers for questions, for comprehension questions about a specific text that you read, is to match the keywords. Like you would go to the question and then you would just try to remember the key word. Like, for example, if we go to this question number 5, where did Tariq go to school? So here I think the word go and the word school, these words are key words. I mean, these are words that would help us try to figure out or find out where the answer lies in the original text, where we have to pick up the answer from. So here in question number 5, we're asking about where Tariq goes to school or where Tariq went to school. So go and school, I think these two words are significant keywords that would help us find the answer. So we're going to go back to the text where the answer is. So here, look at this. Where was your old school? I think this is the first time that they mentioned the word school. So if you look here, we have the word school, and Tariq is answering with the word went. And we all know that the word went is the simple past form of the verb go. So here, if we go back to the question, it would be like, where did you go to school? And that's when Tariq would answer, went to school. So in this case, we are trying to match significant or very important keywords from the text to the question to, become capable of figuring out the answer for the question. So the question here, we have the question here again. Where was your old school? I think Tariq would say, I went to school in Canada. Canada. I think the answer is now Canada. I went to school in Canada. Look, we can match, we can play a game like matching words from different sentences so we can make out a meaningful, idea. Here, look at this. I went to a school in Canada. In this case, you can go back to the question. The question would go to school, and as I said, go is the verb one of the verb went. So I think it's the same thing. Where did Tariq go to school? Tariq went to school in Canada. Moving on to question number 6. What did Nadia decide to write? So as you remember, Nadia is Hussein's sister, and they talked about like what would be a good idea for an article for the school magazine. And then Hussein remembered that his friend Tariq has a very interesting story about him living in Canada, and he recommended this story to his sister Nadia. So let's read this again. What did Nadia decide to write about? We can go back to the text to remember that Nadia, or I don't know, Hussein said, why don't you write an article about Tariq and his life in Canada? That was the point when Hussein recommends or advises his sister to write about Tariq's story. He said, why don't you write an article about Tariq and his life in Canada? And Nadia said, oh, that's a great idea. So I think what Nadia is going to write about is Tariq's life in Canada. Moving on to question number 7. Do you think that writing about Tariq and his life in Canada would be an interesting topic, and why? So now this question is for you guys. I mean, it's not there in the text. You have to come up with ideas on your own answering this question. Like for example, here I'm going to read the question again. Do you think that writing about Tariq and his life in Canada would be an interesting topic, and why? Why would it be an interesting topic? I don't know. I'm going to leave this up for you guys, but I have my own answer. I don't know. I would say it actually would be a very interesting topic because it's always nice actually to read about how other people live, maybe in different countries. You know, it's nice to see how people live in different countries, and you know, the different activities as well, stuff like that. I don't know. It was just um uh and I don't know. It's an answer that just popped up in my mind. Maybe you guys could come up with something even better. I'm going to move on now to another part of the book, which is talking about the past, and we're going to be reading two texts called I Remember. So we have Fatin and Abbas here, and they both wrote something for us about their old lives. If you look at the pictures here, look at this is Fatin and this is Abbas. If you look at them, you can see two, middle-aged people or maybe old people. So when they talk, of course, they will be talking about their past lives. So we're going to now read about what they wrote about their past lives. Let's see how they lived. We will start with Fatin here. When I was a child, my mother was a carpet weaver, and I used to help her. I'd get the colored wool ready for her. I used to watch her weave the traditional patterns. Her carpets were beautiful. She taught me how to weave. My first piece was a belt. We didn't used to have a TV, and in the evening, we'd often sit and tell traditional stories and sing folk songs. But nowadays my grandchildren watch TV and play computer games. I hope they don't forget the old traditional ways. Moving on to Abbas. I was a doctor. I often used to work 10 hours a day. Sometimes I'd work at the weekends as well. We didn't used to have the medicine and equipment that hospitals have today, but we were very skilled, and I would be really happy when my patients got well again. I didn't used to have a car, and I used to walk home through the old market. I would buy presents for my family and fresh fruit for dinner. I think the fruit used to taste better than nowadays. I don't work anymore, but I keep up to date with the latest medical news. Abbas. Guys, I always advise all of you to read the texts again. Now, as you can see, I already read the text for you. All you have to do is just listen to it again so you can understand, or you can just make sure that you're pronouncing the words correctly. Reading and reading and reading over and over and over again is the best solution for people who have difficulty reading fluently and properly. So please, if whenever you feel like you have the energy or you have the time, just pick up a text in English and read it. Make mistakes, it's not a problem, as long as you can just go back to a dictionary, or you can just make sure that you're pronouncing the words correctly. I'm going to move on to the questions, I guess. Okay, yeah, there we go. We did this. Now we're going to be reading questions, and I want you to find me the answer before I find it myself. So here, as you can see, we have questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 answers. I'm going to be reading the question. I'll count till 3. And I will show you the correct answer. But if you guys are faster than me, that would be great. You're going to have to find the answer for each individual question within 3 seconds. Are you ready for this? Are you up to it? Let's do it. Question number 1. What would Fatin do to help her mother? 1, 2, 3. I used to help her. I'd get the colored wool ready for her. That was the answer for question number 1. See, it's a very fast game, and I'm not going to be easy on you. I'm not going to go easy on you. Let me just read question number 2. What did they used to do in the evening? 1, 2, 3. In the evening, we'd often sit and tell traditional stories and sing folk songs. Question number 3. What is different about her grandchildren's life? Of course, we're still asking about Fatin here. 1, 2, 3. My grandchildren watch TV and play computer games. Question number 4, moving on to Abbas now. What did Abbas used to do? 1, 2, 3. I often used to work 10 hours a day. Sometimes I'd work at the weekends as well. Question number 5. What was different about the doctor's life in those days? 1, 2, 3. We didn't used to have the medicine and equipment that hospitals have today. Question number 6. What would he do on the way home? 1, 2, 3. I would buy presents for my family and fresh fruit for dinner. Alright, you guys, I'm gonna give you two pictures. It's a city, but as you can see here we have the city in the past and here we have the city nowadays, and as you can see it's totally different. City has changed over time. So I want you to, I'm reading over here, I want you to write 6 sentences about the differences between the city in the past and now. Use these words to help you. I'm going to read the words in bold here. Park, fountain, building, olive tree, bus stop, road, people, traffic, supermarket, block of flats, restaurants. Here I still have a little example for you. Like, for example, you could say, in the past there used to be a garage, but now there's a supermarket. There didn't used to be many people, but now there are a lot. This is just an example or an opener for your composition. Maybe, of course, you can add a lot of things on to this and you can actually expand on the idea. That was just an example. So I want you to write a 6 sentences composition, only 6 sentences, where you can just mention some differences between the city in the past and the city in the present. Okay, now I'm going to move on to English for Starters, the present and the past, but this is the activity book. This is not going to take a long time. We're just going to read the sentences and just try to highlight some things that I need you to be aware of. Sentence number 1. They always go skiing in the winter. They always go skiing in the winter. Always go skiing. Let me just choose the highlighter. They always go skiing. Always go. Whenever we find the word always, it tells us that the action is happening again and again at different times. And the verb here is go. The verb is go. They always go. They go skiing. We don't say they always are going or they always went, except for specific situations. But here, since we are talking about something that they do habitually, something they do every day maybe, or every week, or I don't know, maybe every month, but it is happening again and again, and it happens over time again and again. So whenever we are talking about an activity that is repetitive, we can use only verb 1. We don't add anything to the verb with frequency adverbs like the word always. And always means that they do this a lot. When you do something a lot, it means that you always do it. Sentence number 2, he moved to Canada. Now here we have a different issue. Here we are using the past. Here we are using present. I'm gonna try to do this. And here we are using the past. Oh my God, I didn't have to do that. So he moved to Canada when he was 5. When he was 5, he moved. You see the ed here? We added ed because it's past. Now I'm going to talking about present, but not only a present, but it's the present continuous. I am studying. This is present continuous. We added the verb to be and the ing form of the verb. I am studying for my exams this week. I am studying for my exams this week. The last time, when I say last time, it means that I'm talking about the past. So here we have the verb heard. The last time I heard, she was working. See you guys? So there's a difference between I am studying and she was working. She was working is in the past. I am studying is in the present. And here also we have they always go. This is present. And he moved. This is in the past. I just wanted you to remember these. Look at these pictures, please. Let's look at these pictures. If you look at these pictures, what do you think the people in the pictures are feeling like? Look at picture number 1. Look at this guy. I don't know. Is he happy? Is he excited? Is he sad? I'm not quite sure. Look at this guy. Is he nervous? Is he upset? Is he angry? Is he excited? I don't know. Look at this girl. How do you feel? She's singing well, obviously. So are you impressed? Are you angry with her? I don't know. Are you embarrassed? Maybe this guy is. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this guy is embarrassed because he just fell over a pile of oranges and now he's all over the place. Look at this guy here. How does he feel like? What do you think he's feeling right now? What is he thinking about right now? What kind of adjective word you can assign to him right now? Or this guy, for example, he's looking at a spider and apparently he's not very happy about it. So how do you think he feels like? Is he embarrassed? Is he excited? Is he nervous? Is he scared? I don't know. I think this guy is nervous because, you know, he's doing, look here, look, read here. It says test. It says test. So maybe he's doing a test. So maybe he's not very excited. I think he's nervous. Okay, I'm going to be reading these sentences and you will have to remember which picture it was. Yesterday, while I was shopping in the market, I fell into a box of fruit. I felt so embarrassed. So of course, since he fell on a box of fruit, so he felt embarrassed. Of course, he's embarrassed because he fell on a box of fruit. Number 2, I'm really space about the basketball match tomorrow. So he has a basketball match tomorrow. So how do you think he feels like? It's a basketball match. If you remember, he was just doing stuff. So I think he is excited. Do you think he's excited? Since it's a basketball match, so I think he is excited. Let's let me just fill in the blanks. So he is excited. He is excited about the basketball match. And here he was embarrassed when he fell into a box of if you look at the match, he was excited about it. Number 3, you look really space. Ollie, have you heard bad news? Yes, my uncle is in the hospital. His uncle is in the hospital. So how do you think he is feeling? How do you think Ali is feeling when his uncle is in the hospital? Do you remember any of the words? I think, would he feel excited? Would he feel happy or embarrassed or nervous when his uncle is in the hospital? I think he would be feeling worried. I think he would be worried. Number 4, I'm so space with my brother. He took my new football to the park yesterday and now he's lost it. Oh, so he has lost it. His brother lost the football. The brother lost the football. So how do you think the guy is feeling? I think he's feeling angry. Of course he is feeling angry because his brother lost his football. I am number 5. I am space about the test tomorrow. Oh, there's a test. Oh, come on. Whenever you have a test tomorrow, how do you feel? Of course, you feel nervous, right? So because there's a test tomorrow, so he feels nervous. I said it hard, but I still don't think I know everything. Number 6, are you of spiders? I am too. I think it's, are you scared of spiders? That would be one of the things that I want you to remember. So some of the words here we have embarrassed. We used embarrassed, excited. We used worried, angry, nervous, scared. Thank you guys. That was all for today. We're going to have more lessons. I hope this one was interesting for you. It would be a great idea if you go back, from the top and just repeat everything we have studied so far. Try to read the example sentences again. Try to remember the grammar that we talked about, all the texts also. If you read them again, that would be such a great exercise to do in half an hour. I don't know. I don't think it takes more time than that. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's me, Mr. Fida from Sun Virtual School, and I can't wait for our next class. Thank you so much. That's all. Goodbye.